Hello everyone, and welcome back to the history of the Jebus dynasty, where last time we saw Emperor Mace embark on his grandest achievement, seizing the throne of the Holy Roman Empire. However, he was unable to secure the succession for his son Merker, who now found himself a vassal of the new Holy Roman Emperor. Still with a strong claim to the throne and much expanded lands, King Merker, age 57, now looked to expand his realm and retake what his father had tried to give him. Merker would focus on foreign affairs, gain himself allies in the coming struggles. Unable to handle the vast realm his father had given him, Merker was forced to give some of his personal property in Tunis to his second son, Hooper. Despite the sudden downgrade, Merker's court was known far and wide as being the grandest in all of Christendom, even grander than the Holy Roman Emperor's court. However, while preparing his own attempt at gaining the throne, his own vassals started rallying against him, demanding lower crown authority. Wanting to pursue his own rights first, Merker gave in to the demand. Trying to take after his father, Merker had the Holy Roman Emperor assassinated. However, the throne failed to pass to him. Taking another page from his father's book, Merker established a series of alliances, notably with the Byzantine Emperor. With his new alliances in place, Merker demanded the throne of the Holy Roman Empire. The new Kaiser Adhemar refused, and so war was declared. A massive battle was fought outside Genoa, but the nearly 60,000 Sicilian allies devastated the 17,000 loyal to the Emperor. The second major battle at Ferrara was more one-sided, 4,000 Imperial forces being slaughtered. Midway through the war, Kaiser Adhemar was excommunicated by the Pope, further lending legitimacy to Merker's cause. By 1271, following a battle in the Eastern Alps, the Kaiser was forced to surrender. King Merker became Emperor Merker of the Holy Roman Empire. Now once more wearing the Reichskrone conquered by his father, Merker set about a campaign of gaining prestige. Holding his first court at the new imperial capital at Palermo, Merker's marshal presented him with a giant chained wolf she took as his own pet. To celebrate his new coronation, Merker organised a grand tournament, larger than any that had been seen before. First board games would be held, followed by a recital, then a duel, a horse race, all culminating in a joust at Palermo's grand jousting grounds. While the war had been proceeding, Merker had commissioned a grand epic to detail the Jebus family's rise to power. The Jebusi Chronicon was completed in 1271. A grand and expensive project gives rise to much of the information we know of the Jebus family to this day. First up was the board game contest. Merker won the first round of the board game as Duke Arsino threw a tantrum at his loss. In the semi-final, Merker beat Theodoros, the Duke of Cephalinia, after he caught his rival cheating during the game. However, in the final, Merker lost to Luitpold. And it was during this gathering of countless nobles and knights that the Pope called for a new holy war. this one on Wallachia. Honouring his ancestors, Merker pledged his warriors for the fight. As many of his ancestors did before him, once more Merker found a woman to be partaking in the armed part of the tournament. He immediately recruited her as a knight. Though the initial goal of the Crusade was to be Wallachia, Merker instead redirected it towards Jerusalem, where so many of his ancestors had tried and failed to take land. Next up came the recital, and it was in the recital that Emperor Merker found victory. So years of training as a diplomat paying off as he gave a triumphant sermon to the crowd. Next was the duel. First round of the duel went to Emperor Merker. Even though his main hand was hurt in the fighting, he quickly switched over, revealing to everyone that he was ambidextrous. However, in the quarterfinals, his new female knight, Theodigotho, put him out of the duel. She would, however, go out in the final, Prysbislav, a wandering knight, taking the title. And it was during this tournament that Merker became renowned as August, truly a follower of the old Roman emperors. Next came the horse race, and Merker's stallion Cream was being ridden by his new knight Theodigotho. And another great success in the horse race, Merker's horse Cream won the race. And finally came the finale, the joust. First up was Count Azrur, and after the Count fell from his horse, Merker defeated him in combat on the ground. Second round they took to their horses, and Merker soundly defeated the Count, shattering his lance repeatedly on the Count's shield. Next up was Duke Arsino of Pisa. However, in the first run, Merker was wounded, cut across the arm by his opponent's lance. However, he pushed on. Successfully treated by his physician Baldur, he pressed on with the tournament. And despite his wound, he beat Arsino. Final round was between the Wanderer Adam and the Emperor. Despite the heckling of the crowd, Emperor Merker won the final. 3 victories to his name, Emperor Merker soundly won the tournament. He won a prize scepter, mace and goblet for his victories in the horse racing, the recital and the joust. It was a glorious tournament that saw Merker's renown spread across the land, being exalted among his fellow men. However, not all news was good at the tournament. Merker's younger brother Army died of wounds sustained in the joust. Shortly after the end of the tournament, in 1273, the Crusade for Jerusalem set off. Third time the Catholic troops would be marching west. This time Merker was determined to right the failures of his ancestors. Merker's forces were the first to arrive in the Holy Land, coming ashore on the 17th of June. First battle would be fought outside Jaffa. Unable to rally his troops, his 40,000 men lost against his enemy's 40,000, losing 13,000 combatants. However, a second battle at Nambus was a victory for the crusading forces. Merker's forces rallied again at the Battle of Gaza. This was a closely fought battle, but proved victorious for the crusading forces. And using his fame gathered in the great tournament and these new great victories in the east, Merker was able to push through a removal of the succession law of the Holy Roman Empire, banning the elections and returning the entire empire to primogeniture, securing the throne for his dynasty. Shortly afterwards, another major victory was won in Hebron, the defending forces now very much on the back foot. Further hard-fought battles in Gaza further pushed the Crusaders towards victory. And then finally, 1275, the Crusaders were able to declare victory, having captured Jerusalem and defeating Caliph Ukhana. For Merker's great contribution to the war, taking the city of Jerusalem and being there in the major victories throughout the war, his benefactory was named the new king of Jerusalem. Mace, Merker's nephew, named after his grandfather, was now the new king. Wanting to keep this new branch of the Jebus family safe, an alliance was negotiated between the two. Having done what his ancestors had repeatedly failed to do and secure Jerusalem, and having secured the Holy Roman Empire's succession for the Jebus dynasty, Merker set about expanding where he could, notably wanting to bring Bishoy fully under his control again. The land lost by his father would now be reclaimed. The war was over quickly. Emir, now Duke Hebron, being captured in battle and forced to swear fealty. Despite his success in his short reign, the age of 67, Merker began to feel old and infirm. Coming ashore in January 1276, the Roman army engaged in a battle in the Nile Delta. Victory at this battle, despite the disadvantage of just disembarking from their ships, gave a great boon to the start of the new war and led Merker to reach a new level of prestige, becoming a living legend. In a second battle at Al-Bahara, the Sultan himself was captured, bringing the war to an end in less than a year, and bringing the so-called Kingdom of the Delta into Jebus's control. The new lands were granted to Merker's youngest son Mace, and the empire once again expanded. Continuing his efforts to push east, next Merker turned on the Duchy of Sinai. As his age was rapidly catching up with him, Merker knew he was not long for the world. A very rare event was scheduled. Basilis Methodus, Emperor of the Byzantine Empire and long-term ally of Merker, challenged Merker to a game of tabula. Travelling to Palermo to play the game, the two had a closely fought match, but aging Merker was victorious. They bonded over the game, and the two became friends. His final few days, Merker was nicknamed the Blessed, his righteous disposition and steady voice defending him against all others. Victory in the Battle of Ehud gave Merker the last pieces he needed to ensure absolute crown authority within his realm. And another battle at Inca led Merker to be praised as a religious icon. But it was then, on the 10th of February 1277, that Merker passed away. Diligent, temperate and calm, he would be forever known as an amazing diplomat, having gathered alliances to secure the empire and Jerusalem for the Jebus dynasty. He died a living legend, and a religious icon. Known as a diplomat and August, he fought in 5 wars, including the Great Holy War for Jerusalem. He's also well known for hosting his grand tournament, which brought him much acclaim. The realm would pass on to Emperor Candy, ascending to the throne at the age of 43. Candy was zealous, calm, and content. Notably, he was gifted genetically, a genius, comely and hale. He's also known for taking part in the Crusades, as well as being a well-known and liked diplomat like his father, an aspiring blade master, and a great eminence. But the story of Emperor Candy is a story for next time. For now, thank you all for joining me, and until the next time we meet, farewell.